I love you.
It's hard to talk about it because she's almost died, and not just once, several times. I was at school when it first happened, and I got the call, and they thought that it was just a urinary tract infection. They weren't really sure. I went up there anyway because it's my mom, and I love her, and no matter what kind of illness she's got, I'm going to be there for her. And so I went up there, and she was so sick, and me and Aunt Debbie were just so concerned because she was just out of it. We couldn't understand what was going on and why these people weren't taking care of her. And we got a nurse in there, and finally they realized that there was something a little bit more serious to it. And then they realized that it was TTP, and we went through one hell of a night because she almost died that night.
Yeah.
If they had waited seconds,
They said a few hours. If she had not made it to the hospital that night,
she would have died. She would have died. And then, we were at a point where they had to get the port, and they were trying to get it into her legs, but her veins were too small, and she went through hell. They
tried both
they
legs.
butchered her.
I remember that.
And, that doctor told us that the only other option was to put it in her neck, and they were afraid to do that because she might bleed out because
Of the TTP.
of the TTP. It causes extreme reactions in your blood, and it explodes. It causes clots, and you get into main artery like that, and she could have bled out and died. But if she didn't get the line in, she was going to die anyway. So we were faced with that night, and thank God that we made it. And we went through a rough 16 days in the hospital where she was having allergic reactions to the blood product, to the medications. She's been drugged up, and she had flatlined a couple of times. She doesn't like to say that a lot, and I can't imagine why she would. But then we thought she was okay. She got out, and she came down and stayed with me for a few days. We went and watched Over the Hedge at the theaters, and we had planned 4th of July. It was more than just a celebration of the 4th of July. It was celebrating, Grandpa, and the fact that Mom was better.
Why did you get out?
And then we realized that she was having another episode, and it went a lot quicker that time. In the hospital could have killed her that night because they didn't want to put another port in there. And her mother-in-law, or fiance's mother, whatever you want to call her, fought to get that in there that night. And if they hadn't, she would have died that night as well. And then we went through an extremely rougher time, about 16 more days in the hospital, and this time it was worse because the allergic reactions were getting worse, and she started. They thought she had a mild stroke. TTP causes basically mental retardation temporarily.
And it messes with your respiratory
system, your circulatory system, your brain. You can't
your
function.
kidneys.
Like you can't function.
Worried about her having kidney damage.
Saved her life, yes, but they gave her staph infection.
Yes.
All I have to say is thank God for Mother's TTP nurse, the one who did her plasmapheresis, Christy. If it wasn't for her, I have a feeling that my mom would not be here today. She's the one that made that hospital do what they were supposed to do so that she could be okay.
Yes, Christy said that she wanted to take Sandy home and just...
Now, these treatments, which that makes no sense to me because she has to have transportation, which her vehicles are not that great. I think actually she has borrowed a truck from a family member because both of her vehicles are out of service right now. And so
She has no means to fix them.
she has no way to fix them. She's had the gas, and she's trying to get help, but maybe she does think she's gonna die.
She's not going
She's started going through her stuff. She started her rings. She loves her rings, and she's given them to me.
The pictures.
She's given me pictures, and she's passed them down to me and told me that, what's supposed to go to my daughter, her granddaughter, that's her only granddaughter right now.
Asking me why.
Her too, because for the longest time, she couldn't go see her grandmother because of the port in her neck. Finally, we just had to work a way around that because otherwise she wouldn't get to see her at all. And I don't want my granddaughter to miss out on her grandmother. And I don't want my mom to miss out on watching her grandchild grow up. It shouldn't have to be like this. My mom is a wonderful person, and I don't know what she's done. If she had had the proper aftercare, she could possibly be over this.
Possibly.
But they didn't do it the way they were supposed to do it. They didn't take care of my mother the way they were supposed to. And a lot of it was because she didn't have money, and she didn't have the proper insurance. Coming out because I don't know what to do. It's hard for me because I'm trying to go to school. I have a job. I live pretty far away from mom, and I have a daughter, and it's been really hard on me. I mean, help you.
You know,
That's a hard. I'm very glad that you were coming out because I don't know what to do. It's hard for me because I'm trying to go to school. I have a job. I live pretty far away from mom, and I have a daughter, and it's been really out here because
help you. I was too.
you know, and I didn't know who all to call.
I want to hear about.
Let me sit down and have the talk. You should never have to have that talk with your mom about what you're going to do for her funeral. But she wanted to do that.
It was important to her.
It was important to her, so I listened. And now I know what she wants when she dies. And God willing, that'd be several years from now. And not because of this.
Yeah.
She is a rare case because the TTP is only keeping her stable so much. Now she's had to go through chemotherapy. And no, she does not have cancer, but the chemotherapy helps other things, like patients with TTP, and that has been really hard on her.
Well, the way I
Anybody who has had cancer or anybody who's had to go through chemotherapy knows how hard that is.
Well, the type of drug.
My mom would be scheduled to go in and get her plasmapheresis at 8 o'clock in the morning, and she would not get home until about 5 or 6 o'clock at night. Plasmapheresis only takes 2 to 3 hours to get, so you can imagine how long it took to even get it to the process because of all the red tape.
This was every time.
Not once or twice, but every time they had to do that. It was every day. It's like they didn't have a file on her. They had to create a new file.
And why was this?
I have no
We have no
idea.
clue.
We don't know why.
They wouldn't
did
give her a
that.
doctor, right?
No.
They wouldn't appoint a doctor.
They didn't want to
way
give
I
her a
understand it,
hematologist either.
St.
She had
John's
to fight
is
for that.
all this.
That's another thing that made me very angry is the fact that they were sending in their interns to learn about it at the expense of my mother.
And this
They
is
were
a very
putting her
critical
life
situation.
in danger so that they could learn. That's not okay with me. It's okay with me if my mom is doing stable and they have a doctor in there with the interns and they can look.
But not when she's critical.
Not when she's critical. Not when she's in there flatlining and breaking out in hives and
And the
can't
doctor
breathe.
telling you that if she has another episode, she may not make it.
That's what they told us. They told us that if she has another relapse and her numbers, her plasma goes down as much as it did before, that she may not make it.
Yeah, okay.
Right now, we're fighting to keep her numbers up.
Well, the way I would.
Anything she can't be around. Right now, she's
Anyone's
taking a risk sitting out on a porch with 5 family members.
Right. And with the
And-
pollen in the air.
With the pollen, she can't.
Because she cannot allow any pollen to get into the port because it could be deadly to her.
That's another thing that's been hard on me and my daughter because when my daughter has got the simplest of colds that normally you wouldn't have a problem being around, my mother can't be around it because the prednisone breaks down your immune system. But if she doesn't have the prednisone, she would die.
Then, right. Then her,
I
her
mean,
red
she
blood
is-
cells will start
it's-
exploding again.
It's caused her a lot of problems. She now has
She has to take
problems with her
diabetic
blood
medicine
pressure.
because of the
She has,
prednisone.
yeah, she has to take medication to help with her blood pressure, to help
The
with the diabetes. She has to have
For blood pressure.
Sandy, will you sit?
went through hell, literally, to get this in her neck. And we have had so many problems with doctors and nurses trying to use it for other things, and we have to fight constantly to keep it clean.
This has been in her neck now for over 3 months. From the last episode.
Mom, is this yours?
Pretty amazing, yes.
No, not her.
A lot of times they don't last that long, but I guess I have a protective nature.
That's good.
The good Lord watches over me.
She may not seem like it to you, but she's beautiful just the way she is right now.
Oh, she is beautiful.
Through the prednisone uglies.
Thank you, because that's given me everything there is.
Will you-
every side
will you
effect
get
I
me
can
cold?
get. This.
Yeah, this is what we're
You're
gonna
all
be
right,
showing.
sis.
This is why I'm here. I am here for this woman, my little sister. I have spent the last 3 months of my life for her and gathering everyone together to save her life. How much is a life worth? How much is a life worth? A human life in America. We say the third world, let's save someone in America. This is my family. This is my angel face.
Where without that, without getting to raise my grandbaby, I'm sorry. I don't want to cry. I'm tired of crying. I
Sandra,
don't want to be.
it's all right. It's all right. It's understandable as much as you're going through and as much as you've been through. Honey,
It's not
But-
yours, baby. Here.
I've endured, and I will endure.
I'll come out here and beat you up if I have to.
Yeah, but
she's having problems with weakness in her legs now.
Oh, I know.
She
that's from the
can't walk.
prednisone. I had to do everything on our own, and because I was brought up, you work hard, and I've never had to ask for help. One time in my life I did, and I received it very, very briefly when my
You didn't
daughter was
ask.
young.
I'm here because that's just the way it is. And I'm asking for.
Working 2 jobs as for anything. I've always,
She taught
I
me
guess I don't know what to say, except for one day I was a normal person, and then the next day I walked into the twilight zone, because in an instant
Madison.
your life can change, and when you don't have your health, that's one of the worst things ever. And a lot of other things become very menial to you.
She calls out to the man on the street, "Sir, can you help me? It's cold and I'm nowhere to sleep. Is there somewhere you can tell me?" He walks on, doesn't look back. He pretends he can't hear her, starts to whistle as he crosses the street. Seems embarrassed to be there. Oh, think twice, 'cause it's another day for you and me in paradise. Oh, think twice, 'cause it's another day for you and me in paradise. Think about it. She calls out to the man on the street. He can see she's been crying. She's got blisters on the soles of her feet. She can't walk, but she's trying. Oh, think twice, 'cause it's another day for you and me in
It's all black and white, the sky is so quiet, but inside a battle's raging. Why do I fight? Why do I fight? Heaven's love when all I need is more of you and me now. I need you now more than the air I'm breathing now. Yes, I'm crying out from the depths of my inmost being now. Come have your way with me. Yes, I need you now. Oh, the dawn chases the dark out of my heart. There's tears of gladness roar that wash over me like the waves of the sea, shouting out the hallelujahs. And when more of you and me now. Yes, I need you now more than the air I'm breathing now. Yes, I'm crying out from the depths of my inmost being now. Come have your way with me. Stay close and never leave until you're the heart that beats inside of me. Oh, I need you now. I need you now. I'm crying out more than the air I breathe. Yes, I need you now. Yes, I'm crying out. There's more of you and me now. Oh, I need you now. Yes, I need you now.
Two months is too little. They let him go. They had no sudden healing. To think that Providence would take a child from his mother while she prays is appalling. Who told us we'd be rescued? What has changed and why should we be saved from nightmares? We're asking why this happens to us who have died to live. It's unfair. This is what it means to be held, how it feels when the sacred is torn from life. And This hand is bitterness. We want to taste it. Let the hatred know our sorrow. The wise hand opens slowly to lilies of the valley. And tomorrow, this is what it means to be held. How it feels when the sacred is torn from your life and you survive. This is what it is to be loved and to know that the promise was when everything fell, we'd be held. If hope is born of suffering, if this is only the beginning, can we not wait for 1 hour, watching for our Savior? This is what it means to be held. How it feels when the sacred is torn from your life and you survive. This is what it is to be loved and to know that the promise was when everything fell, we'd be This is what it means to be held.
I was sure by now, God, you would have reached down and wiped our tears away, stepped in and saved the day. But once again, I say amen, and it's still raining. But as the thunder rolls, I barely hear you whisper through the rain, I'm with you. And as your mercy falls, I'll raise my hands and praise the God who gives and takes away. And I'll praise you in this storm, and I will lift my hands, for you are who you are, no matter where I am. And every tear I've cried, you hold in your hand. You never left my side, and though my heart is torn, I will praise you in this storm. I remember when I stumbled in the wind, you heard my cry to you and raised me up again. But my strength is almost gone. How can I carry on if I can't find you? But as the thunder